Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One, coming to you on Tuesday, June the 13th. The year is 2023. Let's talk trading. Trading with Walmal. These videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine and from Walmal. Walmal, we had some red news come out, and it definitely made the market move a bit.
Yeah, it certainly did. And it's funny because we were talking about this earlier, where my charts don't look anything like your charts. Because I think there was just so much movement that different brokers reacted differently as to what price actually was, and that's kind of scary in one sense because but it's also kind of expected because we don't have a unified market, we don't have a consolidated market, in FOREX, so. You can wind up with some crazy things. And I know you're on an ECM broker, and I'm on an ECM broker. We're on two different ECM brokers, so depending on what their fees were from the banks, they came up with totally different prices. And my low went down tremendously further than yours, but it just kind of strange how that can happen, and it's scary because that means that. Trading the news sometimes can be hazardous.
Yeah.
So you got to go trade what you see and not anything else.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to say the least, that's for sure.
Yeah. So in any case, we've got a flip-flop box here. We got a state change. We're below indicator 2, and I went short at 98 even. And price is stopping, so there we go. Got a nice little jump. Okay, I'm going to get out right here. I got 2.4.
Nice one.
Well, I got 2.1.
Actually, we got a new flip-flop box with the one ball, and we're right about at the 23% fib retrace level.
Yep, the hour just went red. Now it's green again.
Now mine's green by 0.5. Now it's back to 0. Now it's red. There we go. And we've got the weekly open. We're actually on this broker, I'm 31 pips above it. On the other broker, I think the weekly open was around 82.
Yeah, my weekly open is at 59. It shows you, how different brokers can be. I mean, we're 20, 30 pips apart from each other.
Right.
If you would have taken that flip-flop box there, you could have gotten out with 2 pips easy.
Yeah.
So now I don't know if I'd be willing to take it. Reason why is just because it would be 3 in a row. We've got 98 pips for the day as a range, but the hour, we've only got 10 pips, so it certainly could go down. I just wouldn't take it. I would have, between the two trades, would have had 4 pips in the back. It's time to go and take a rest for a second here.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, if you would have gone in again, you could have picked up another 2 pips. So it just shows you, trading is trading, and right now you'd be up 2.3 pips from that entry. But I personally wouldn't have taken it, and I didn't take it. And now I'm kicking myself because now we've been up 4 pips.
Yeah, well, let's see. 87.2 would be a 38% retrace, so that's something to look forward to.
Yep. So we'll see if this 90 is going to hold. If you look to the left, you'll see that 90 line is acted as support and resistance. So we'll see if it holds again, or if it's or it's something that's going to punch through. So far, it looks like it's holding.
Yeah, you mentioned 3 in a row just for those traders who might not be aware of what we're talking about. You were talking about 3 red or 3 black candles in a row going down?
Yeah, I was talking exactly.
So with my multimeter over here, it tells me how many candles in a row and what color.
Okay, so now we've got a state change. We're still we're below the indicator too, but we do have flip-flop box. So talking about a potential long trade here, but I didn't see a trade to actually be triggered. Okay, now is a trigger right there. You could have taken that. The way this is moving, I did not take it just because it's floundering a little bit here. I think price is sort of unfortunately in a position where it doesn't know what it wants to do.
No, I think if we say that, it's just probably a lot of orders there. That's why
Yes. Right.
And they're just getting filled. Probably shorts people that went long at the double O and they put their stops around 90.
Right. It's there's probably a bunch of orders there that just need to be filled out. That's what I mean by the market doesn't know what it's going to do, mainly because you got to go and clear those books before it can make a move up or make a move down. It's got to get all those orders cleared out at this level. So eventually we'll get to the other side of it. This price, as you like to say, price can't remain the same.
No. Well, and the thing is, it's either going to go to the double O or back down to the 75.
Right. And from last hour, you can see there was, that 75 line, man, that was a line that really held strong for a good long period of time before it finally broke. And when it broke once before the news. They came right back to it, but the second time when it broke because of the news, and it broke it, So I like to say it broke it good.
Yeah. Well, we've hit the daily pivot, we've hit the weekly pivot, we've hit the monthly pivot. But on this H4, the pivot's at 25.84, and we haven't hit that one yet. We missed it by 3 pips.
Okay, so we got a flip-flop box here. We are under the indicator too. We don't have a state change, and we do have 3 black candles in a row. So to me, that's a whole pattern for me.
Right. Yeah, we came down and we just about touched that 38% fib retrace. Put a 2-ball in and bounced.
Now, some traders who don't trade by my rules, they certainly could have entered, and you would have had a good entry up somewhere around, about 91.3 would have been a good entry point. And you could have gone and picked up, 2 pips or something. It's just that it's not my trade.
Right. Okay. I was going to say 25.81.7 will be a 50% retrace. We've already hit it once. So let's see if we can hit it a second time. And here it comes.
Yep. So the thing that was not my, and here's the thing, traders, where I would have gone in, where I said you could have easily gone into that 91 level roughly. You could have been up, 6, 7 pips. And I could be really upset that I gave up those 6 or 7 pips, but it wasn't my trade, and we have to remember that, just because you get movement on the chart doesn't mean that that's your particular trade, and the thing is, we all see the chart, we all look at the chart, and based on our own rules, based on whatever things that we set up on the chart, that's how we trade it. And you can't get upset with the fact that, hey, that would have been a nice trade. Yeah, it would have been a nice trade, except for one thing. It wasn't a nice trade because it wasn't my trade.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody else's.
And just so we know, I just showed that we took out that H4 pivot that I had mentioned earlier. So once again, it's just one of those things where you have different methods, different systems, and you just have to put the trade on, set your stop loss, set your TP, or wait for profit to appear, and then execute. It's really not.
Exactly.
It's not all that complex. It's just.
It's easy. It's one of those things where it's easy until it's not.
Right. And so let's see, we're at the 80 level, and I said if it's either going to 00 or 75, let's see what happens from here.
Yeah, so there was another, depending on how you did your rules with flip-flop options, you had another potential entry at 82.9, and again, you could have picked up a pip and a half. Again, it wasn't my trade because we have too many black candles in a row. I didn't have a state change. I was below indicator 2, though. So for me, that, again, wasn't a trade. Because I like to go have some of those mitigating things off the table. But at the same time, somebody else that set their rules up slightly different could certainly make some money there.
Yeah. And if you would have ridden indicator 2 from that first signal.
Yeah, if you would have, from that very first signal, the reality is that you could be up at this point in time, 13, 14 pips. Because the first entry would have been, at 98 even. That would have been your first entry. So, I can't do that. I wish I could. I'm just not good enough to do that. I know my personality. I know who I am. And so I just don't take those. I don't look to go and get those big trades, Some people can go and do that and hold on that long. And to me, it's sort of like, that's too much money on the table.
Yeah. Something you might want to talk to the traders about in a minute or two. You were saying how you were taking line break trades today. You weren't really taking your normal setup.
Yeah, well, that was basically because most of my trades today happened during the news event. And what I mean by taking line break trades, there are just certain lines that you just know are, they're just lines that are out there that have importance, So if I saw a line because it was sitting at a 00, like the 2600 or the 75 or something along those lines, I was just taking those breaks of those lines, Or the other thing I was doing was that I talk about it all the time, that when you have a big move like we did on the news, the midpoint to that big move in any particular direction, I draw a line there. And the reason why is because I know when it gets to that line, it's either going to go break it and continue in that direction, or it's going to go and bounce off of it. So what do? I wait for it to get down to that line. When it gets down to that line, I then go and watch to see what it's doing. If it's starting to retract off of that line, I'll go in the direction of the retrace back the other direction. If on the other hand, looks like it's going to go and break through it, I'll go and take that. I'll take it in that direction. So, somebody will say, well, what was your bias? My bias is whatever I see on the chart. Again, because I'm not looking to make 20, 30, 40 pips on a particular trade. I'm not one of those guys who, like an order block person or something like that. That's not how I trade. And because of that long-term bias, I may have one, but it's not as important to me as somebody who's trading in that fashion.
Right. So, fellow traders, the fastest 15 minutes in trading is up, and I hope maybe you picked up a tip or two from our little chat today. And always remember and never forget, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. This is the Rumpled One, over and out.